do the work for us behind the scenes every day. It truly takes a village.
All right, and that we'll get started. We'll go to Nathan Lou.
Amber, with the status of labor talks with so many free agents, with an expansion draft, do you have any idea what this offseason might even...
There is a specific moment in every professional sport when the entire ecosystem tilts on its axis, a single point where the old way of doing business is ripped out and replaced by a ruthless, high-stakes reality. For the WNBA, that moment is unfolding right now, and the epicenter of the quake is Indianapolis. While casual fans argue over box scores and rookie milestones, a far colder game is being played behind closed doors inside the Indiana Fever's front office. The organization has stopped playing nice, walked away from patience and long-term politeness, and unleashed a series of deliberate, aggressive moves that leave no room for debate about one undeniable truth. They are no longer simply assembling a basketball roster. They are building a billion-dollar empire around Caitlin Clark. When you fuse this sudden front office aggression with confirmation of a sneaker deal that financially eclipses the combined salaries of the entire league, you create a powder keg ready to detonate across the sports world. To grasp the weight of what the Fever's general manager and ownership just executed, you have to look at who was left behind. Firing head coach Christie Sides wasn't routine. It was a cold, deliberate warning shot. On paper, Sides did exactly what she was hired to do. She took a lottery team that forgot how to win, survived a brutal early schedule, clawed back from disaster, and pushed them into the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. In any other WNBA era, that earns security and praise. In the Caitlin Clark era, good enough gets you dismissed. Kelly Krauskopf's return signaled a violent pivot from patience to domination. The organization studied usage rates, stagnant half-court schemes, and a failure to unleash Clark's transition brilliance, and realized they were driving a Formula One car through a school zone. They didn't just want to make the playoffs anymore. They decided they wanted to control the entire league. That ruthless chase for perfection leads directly to the move that changed everything: the hiring of Stephanie White. This wasn't random or safe. White is WNBA royalty, an Indiana native with championship credibility, and her arrival sends a clear message: the Fever are done asking Clark to adjust to the league. Instead, they're forcing the league to adjust to Clark, paying a premium to pull White away from a successful run in Connecticut. The front office has confirmed the roster is now built specifically around Clark's chaotic brilliance. White's fast, high-octane system thrives on transition threes, rapid ball movement, and spacing, the exact environment Clark needs to explode. This decision officially ends the adjustment phase. The franchise is declaring that the system bends to the player, not the other way around, a terrifying thought for defensive coordinators who already struggled to slow Clark in a system that barely fit her. And while the basketball side is being reshaped, the financial foundation of the sport is being rewritten by one historic deal. The confirmed Nike partnership, reportedly worth $28 million over 8 years, is the engine powering all of this upheaval. We have to stop and really process that number because the scale of it is almost impossible to grasp. For decades, the WNBA has battled profitability issues, limited marketing power, and strict salary caps, and then a rookie arrives and signs a deal that eclipses the lifetime earnings of nearly everyone who's ever played in the league. This isn't a simple endorsement, it's a coronation. Nike is wagering that Clark is the gateway to a global audience, and money like that carries a level of influence that makes owners and league executives uneasy. It completely flips the balance of power. Normally, teams control everything because they write the paychecks. But when your point guard is earning 30 times her salary from a shoe deal, she holds the leverage. The most explosive element of this confirmation is the signature shoe itself. In the NBA, signature shoes are milestones for MVPs and champions. In the WNBA, they're rare honors reserved for legends like Sheryl Swoopes or modern icons such as Breanna Stewart and Aya Wilson, and even they had to wait years before getting theirs. For a rookie to secure one before logging a single professional minute rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Leaks from inside the design process suggest Nike is fast-tracking the release, racing to get on shelves before next season tips off, determined to cash in on the fever pitch surrounding her rise. This shoe is more than footwear, it's a declaration of hierarchy. It places Clark above multi-time champions and MVPs in the order of cultural relevance, validating the golden child narrative her critics despise. Every time she steps on the floor, she's essentially wearing a moving billboard, a reminder to opponents of exactly how much more she's valued. And that leads to the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone is thinking. The gap between Clark's WNBA salary and her off-court income is short-circuiting the league's collective mindset. Her rookie salary, famously hovering around $76,000, only makes that contrast impossible to ignore a number that went viral because of how absurdly low it looked next to her cultural impact. And yet, with the Nike deal, the Gatorade deal, the Wilson Ball deal, and the State Farm commercials, Clark is essentially playing in the WNBA as a passion project. She doesn't need league money to survive or even to thrive, and that reality gives her leverage no women's basketball player has ever held. If the Fever fail to build a true contender, she has the financial freedom to demand trades, force exits, or even sit out in ways players living contract to contract simply cannot. That independence is already creating a massive headache inside the Fever front office, especially with the looming threat of the Unrivaled League. This new 3v3 venture founded by Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier is launching in Miami during the offseason, and they are aggressively pursuing Clark. The rumors are wild. Messi level offers, equity stakes, and salaries north of $1 million for just weeks of play. That leaves the Fever GM trapped in a nightmare scenario. Do you tell your franchise star she can't make $1 million because you're afraid of an ankle tweak, or do you let her play and risk the entire season? Unrivaled's fast, offense-first style is tailor-made for Clark, but the injury risk hangs heavy. This situation is the first real stress test between Clark and the new regime. Block her and resentment grows. Allow it and an injury could end careers in the front office. It's a no-win equation for management and a massive financial win for Clark. The silence from her camp has been deliberate and deafening, keeping headlines alive all winter. It's a masterclass in leverage, but it raises a brutal question. Can her body survive a full college season, a relentless WNBA rookie year, and then a high-intensity 3v3 league without ever stopping? A number that went viral because of how absurdly low it looked next to her cultural impact. And yet with the Nike deal, the Gatorade deal, the Wilson Ball deal, and the State Farm commercials, Clark is essentially playing in the WNBA as a passion project. She doesn't need league money to survive or even to thrive, and that reality gives her leverage no women's basketball player has ever held. If the Fever fail to build a true contender, she has the financial freedom to demand trades, force exits, or even sit out in ways players living contract to contract simply cannot. That independence is already creating a massive headache inside the Fever front office, especially with the looming threat of the Unrivaled League. This new 3v3 venture founded by Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier is launching in Miami during the offseason, and they are aggressively pursuing Clark. The rumors are wild. Messi level offers, equity stakes, and salaries north of $1 million for just weeks of play. That leaves the Fever GM trapped in a nightmare scenario. Do you tell your franchise star she can't make $1 million because you're afraid of an ankle tweak, or do you let her play and risk the entire season? Unrivaled's fast, offense-first style is tailor-made for Clark, but the injury risk hangs heavy. This situation is the first real stress test between Clark and the new regime. Block her and resentment grows. Allow it and an injury could end careers in the front office. It's a no-win equation for management and a massive financial win for Clark. The silence from her camp has been deliberate and deafening, keeping headlines alive all winter. It's a masterclass in leverage, but it raises a brutal question. Can her body survive a full college season, a relentless WNBA rookie year, and then a high-intensity 3v3 league without ever stopping? There's a clear head-hunting energy in the scouting reports right now. The Fever aren't just looking for talent. They need an enforcer, someone who can lay bone-rattling screens, eat a technical without flinching, and send a message that touching the golden goose comes with consequences. That reality forces uncomfortable conversations about the roster. Who stays, who's gone? Kelsey Mitchell revived her career next Clark, using speed to punish open space, making her hard to replace. Aaliyah Boston is the ideal pick-and-roll partner, a young star aligned with the same timeline. Beyond that, nobody is safe. The GM is targeting players who can keep up with Stephanie White's relentless pace. Slow defenders and offensive ball stoppers are on borrowed time. The family vibe is over. This is now a ruthless business built to maximize the asset, with loyalty to winning, not to survive the rebuilding years. Zoom out, and the ripple effect is even bigger. Caitlin Clark didn't just land a Nike deal. She forced the WNBA to rethink its entire economic structure. The Players Association opting out of the CBA 2 years early wasn't random. Clark brought so much revenue, attention, and visibility that the old math collapsed. She's the spark behind a labor shift, and every raise over the next 5 years will trace back to the Caitlin effect. But that power also paints a larger target. Players know she's expanding the pie, yet still want the biggest slice. Gratitude and resentment now coexist, and the media is pouring gasoline on that tension. ESPN, TNT, and every major digital platform have quietly reoriented their coverage around one player, and when the Fever GM makes a move, it instantly becomes national news. That level of microscope pressure is brutal for a franchise, where every loss feels like a crisis and every turnover gets clipped, replayed, and dissected by millions. The new coaching staff isn't just teaching basketball, they're managing a non-stop media storm. Stephanie White has survived this kind of fire before, but even experience doesn't make it easy. The front office is betting that Nike money and roster upgrades can insulate Clark from the noise, yet the mental weight of being the most scrutinized athlete in America can't be calculated on a spreadsheet. That shoe deal matters even more when you zoom out. Nike is locked in a branding war. Under Armour has Curry, Adidas has Anthony Edwards, and women's basketball is the fastest-growing segment in sportswear. Clark is their answer, and by securing her, Nike believes they've locked the market for a decade. But that also puts enormous pressure on the CC1. If it flops or gets mocked, the damage is real, which is why Nike is reportedly treating this like a Jordan launch, with elite designers, massive budgets, and near-total secrecy. The stakes aren't just personal, they're financial. At the same time, Clark's public image is shifting. In college, she was universally adored. In the pros, the fan wars and toxic discourse have turned her into a polarizing figure. The Fever seem to be embracing that. They know other teams resent them, they know officiating struggles to keep up with the pace, and by confirming massive deals and hiring a no-nonsense coach, they're leaning fully into the super team villain role. History says those teams get hated, from Miami's Big Three to the Durant Warriors. The Fever GM also knows windows close fast. Injuries happen. Players leave. Waiting 5 years isn't an option. These aggressive moves scream that the title window is open now. Next season isn't about sneaking into the playoffs. It's finals or failure. The leap from Rookie of the Year to MVP expectations is unfair, but it comes with the territory of cashing a billion-dollar check. Nike expects dominance. The franchise expects it. Fans demand it. There's no grace period for a sophomore slump. The ripple effects stretch even further. Clark's deal has reset the bar for every teenage phenom coming up next. Nil money will explode. Young players will model their games around the logo 3. The Fever know they're standing at the center of a cultural shift, and securing Clark didn't just lock in a star, it locked in the next generation's attention. That's why tickets are surging, merch is gone, and every game feels like an event. This isn't just basketball anymore. It's participation in something bigger. And quietly beneath all the headlines, Clark is transforming physically. Offseason reports say she's living in the weight room, killing the skinny shooter label before the headhunters get to her. Nike's resources give her elite trainers, nutrition, and recovery tools most players never see. That's the real advantage here, not just money, but infrastructure, building a body designed to survive what's coming next.